Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier, and I hope everyone is well. Today is Saturday, December 7th, and I hope everyone is having a chance to remember Pearl Harbor, the lives that were lost, our military, and so many people. But what I want to talk about today is something else that I think is also very critical and very important to remember. I want to talk about what's happening with Michael Bloomberg, the 2020 candidates. It's a real quick thought, but it's an important one because I think a lot of people missed this. Something that a lot of people didn't pay attention to. Now, to be very specific, it's on December 5th, Michael Bloomberg, who is now one of the Democratic 2020 candidates, the nominees, he was having a speech at the Aurora Town Hall in Colorado. And he made this speech based on ending the Second Amendment, but taking away people's rights. Now, this is not a new thing for Michael Bloomberg. This is a gentleman who imposed his will on New York City, telling people that they couldn't have salt, on telling people that they couldn't have soft drinks, that he wanted to manage their diets, to give the government the power to micromanage the lives of individuals. And that is terrifying in and of itself. As the highest office in the nation, as the executive, as the president, Michael Bloomberg, we can only imagine, would be more willing to try and just devastatingly micromanage the lives of Americans under what he would call their best interest is a problem. And as we know, he's already said in the past that increasing taxes on poor people is a good thing because it will force them to live a lifestyle that he approves of. That's not America. That's not the American way. It's definitely a very socialist point of view where you say, hey, the government says this is good, therefore you must do it. I disagree with that, but some don't. And obviously he's already done better than Kamala Harris, so many Democrats seem to be okay with that. Many progressives, obviously. But there's something he said that's very important, and I want to really focus on this because I think this is critical for Americans. He was talking about gun violence. He was talking about eliminating gun violence. And when he did so, he said something that was, I think everyone in the media missed this. And I'm going to play that soundbite for you so you can hear it from his conversation.
Now, I know critics will say that Americans shouldn't need a permit to exercise their constitutional rights. But voting is a constitutional right, and we require people to register to protect the rights of all citizens. And this is exactly the same idea, because a criminal with a gun can destroy our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay, so he wants to say that permits, you have to get a permit to have your right to the Second Amendment. The fundamental, inalienable rights that you have under the Constitution. Michael Bloomberg just said, well, for you to have and exercise your inalienable, God-given right, as enumerated by the Constitution, that you have to get approved by the government to do that first. In other words, it's invalidating the Second Amendment. It is a way to work around taking away your rights and your freedoms. He's saying that the government has to approve whether you can be free. And that's what he's saying. Now, I want to understand something. Under Michael Bloomberg's ideology, this reasoning that you have to get a permit first before you can have a right to defend yourself. Understand, there was just a month ago a pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant, in Texas, who had to defend her family, her 11-year-old daughter, her husband, who was being pistol whipped by two intruders in their home, and she had to get an AR-15 to defend them as she's 8 months pregnant. Would Mr. Bloomberg have approved her beforehand? And what if he didn't? Is it okay for women in that situation to die? Or women in general who have to defend themselves, that they should be disapproved because Michael Bloomberg doesn't like firearms and therefore women would be endangered? Is this what he's saying? And let's really think about this for a second. So you have to be approved to get a permit for a firearm, but we know for a fact that 99.999% of all of the firearms in America, the over 360 million firearms in America that are owned by approximately 160 million Americans, all that they are not criminals, that they're not the persons committing crimes, that is not the source of gun violence in America. And the 0.04% of the time that it is the only time it's a problem. But let's think about it. He's saying that, okay, you're going to be forced to have a permit approved by the government to exercise your right, and this will make you safe. Let me ask you a very simple question that no one seems to ask Michael Bloomberg and people who have the same kind of thought. How many criminals have a permit before they go and commit gun crime? And I can tell you the number is incredibly low. This is why no one will speak about it. This is why no Democrat nominee, no one who's elected, everyone who's against the Second Amendment will not quote the number for you. It is so infinitesimally small, it is non-existent or virtually non-existent. It is not a real number. It is representative of how few actual gun owners are dangerous. Otherwise, they'd be blasting that number every single time they talk. They avoid this, and the media should, actually I believe is obligated to ask the question, Mr. Bloomberg, how many people will actually be made safe by making people get a permit? How many criminals are out there getting a permit first? Because let's think about it. How many times do we have criminals who get arrested for gun violence that were illegally using that firearm? How many times have we seen that with mass shootings? How many times? Think about it. How many times we've had a school shooting where the school shooter, even the most recent one, 15 years old, was illegal for them to have that firearm. It was already a crime that they got the firearm because they were too young to be able to have that firearm. It was illegal, and they did it anyway. In Bloomberg, New York, one of the situations I like to cite a lot, where 4 former Boy Scouts were building bombs, something that is blatantly and absolutely illegal since 1934, over 70 years, and yet they still made the bombs. This does not, saying that it's illegal, saying that you need a permit, saying that the government has to approve you, does not make you safer. It does make the government more powerful and larger, and brings us closer to Venezuela, where the government, having taken away the rights of the people to be able to arm themselves, then went about over the last 2 years, according to the New York Times, killing 5,000 people in Venezuela, Venezuelans. That's what Michael Bloomberg is saying. In the same way that he wants to tell people whether or not you can use salt, in the same way he wants to dictate the diets of people, the same way that he wants to punish the poor by taxing them into a lifestyle that he approves of, he wants to take away your right to have a firearm and defend yourself from a government that is overreaching, micromanaging your life, and in many cases, I would say, is not doing the best thing for the people. This is what the discussion should be about when we talk about Michael Bloomberg and we talk about the 2020 Democratic candidates. This is the dangerous ideology of socialism and progressivism that I am definitely against, and I think we need to talk about in America, because that doesn't make you safe. It may sound like it'll make you safe. It may sound like it's a good idea, but what it really is a slippery slope to taking away your freedom. That's what I think. But I want to hear what you think. Do you agree with me? Did you hear Michael Bloomberg as I just played it? And did you hear his speech? Did you hear anyone in the media ask that question? And you have to wonder why. Well, I look forward to your comments. Please get in touch with us. You can reach us at 607-242-1582, or you can go to, or you can text there. You can also reach us on email at info@vassconsult, VASS consult.com, or on our Twitter at MVConsult. I look forward to hearing from you. And for all of our donors, remember, we've got a gift for you for every $10 donation. Everyone be well. I'll talk to you again soon.